Hello, my name is Jeffrey Shu, and I'm a member of Livingston High School's FBLA chapter. Last year, I competed in the Introduction to Business Communication event and placed second at the states level and first at the national level. So today, I am here to share with you a couple of tips that aided me in my studying that I hope will help you in your preparation for this event. So without further ado, what exactly is Introduction to Business Communications all about? Introduction to Business Communications is a 60-minute objective test with 100 questions that assesses individuals' ability and mastery of business communication skills and concepts. So what exactly are these skills and concepts all about? Well, Introduction to Business Communications is divided into a couple of major categories from which participants should prepare for. And these categories include grammar, punctuation and capitalization, spelling, proofreading and editing, word definition and usage, oral communication, and reading comprehension. Now, the first tip that I would like to share with you today is to actively look through your competitive event guidelines and ascertain which aspects of the event you will need most preparation for. And what I mean by this is to not focus on everything all at once, but to actually identify which concepts you think you haven't really heard of before or you need most preparation on, and work on those concepts first before reviewing things that you already know. So, for example, there are many skills that are going to be assessed in each of these categories that I just mentioned. Under the grammar category, for example, you can be tested on your knowledge of the 8 parts of speech in sentences, as well as your knowledge of adverbs and adjectives, pronouns, prepositions, and conjunctions. There are many more skills that you could be tested on, but those are just a few, and as always, you can refer back to the competitive event guidelines. Under the punctuation and capitalization event, you will be assessed on your use of commas, colons, and semicolons, quotation marks, as well as grammatical rules that govern the use of special punctuation marks, such as the dash, hyphen, and parentheses. Under the spelling category, you will not only need to know how to correctly spell words in a variety of contexts, but also to use a dictionary and thesaurus to aid you in your spelling, pronunciation, and meaning. Under the proofreading and editing section of this event, you will have to proofread written communications with errors using special marks called proofreader's marks that can be found online using APA or MLA styles. And you'll also have to compare drafts to final documents to make editorial changes. Under the word definition and usage component of this event, you will have to infer the meaning of words and idiomatic phrases when you're given the context of these phrases, as well as to illustrate proper usage of words when you're writing effective sentences. Under the oral communications concepts category of this event, you will have to know how to use bias-free language in business communications, as well as to be sensitive to the audience when you're determining needs and desires for presenting business presentations. And last but not least, under the reading comprehension component of this event, you will have to demonstrate your ability to read and follow directions, demonstrate reading comprehension by restating or summarizing, differentiating between facts and opinions, and determining if a text is descriptive, informative, instructional, or persuasive, to name a few examples. So now that we've briefly discussed the event guidelines for this particular test, it's now time to kind of discuss what strategies or skills would optimize your chance of success at competitions. Personally, I found that using textbooks were the most conducive to my success. The textbook that I used was Business Communications by Thomas Means, and I highly recommend it not only because it covers grammatical aspects of the event, but also because it covers concepts that aren't typically taught in school, such as oral presentation techniques, proofreading abilities, and editing skills, as well as how to effectively read and comprehend what you're reading. In addition to Business Communications by Thomas Means, I utilize a variety of online textbooks from sources such as Lumen Learning and McGraw-Hill. You can also choose to look up YouTube videos on the subject of business communication, but I found that reading from a textbook, taking notes, And subsequently, doing exercises was the best way of preparing for this event because it allowed me to distill what I needed to know from what I didn't need to know, as well as to actively practice what I was learning. Another major tip that I would like to stress in this mini video is to actively practice and take practice tests for each skill that you learn. So for example, once you think you've obtained a successful grasp on, let's say, the 8 parts of speech for grammar, I would recommend that you go online and search up, you can just search up 8 parts of speech quiz, like literally, that's all you have to do. And then just take a couple of quizzes to check your understanding of the subject. The same goes for other categories in this event. Before the competition, you also want to make sure that you're familiar with the time constraints as well as the types of questions that FBLA tends to ask on these tests. And I think the best way to prepare for this is to take practice tests released by FBLA for the specific event and time yourself when you're doing so to make sure that you're actively fitting the time constraints that you're going to be placed under. Because remember, you will have 60 minutes to complete 100 questions. So there's definitely going to be a time crunch there. I would also recommend that you talk to your English teacher if that's possible at all, because your English teacher will be an invaluable source of knowledge, whether that be for grammar, punctuation and spelling, proofreading or editing, word definition usage, and even reading comprehension. So feel free to even ask them for help or clarification if you're unsure about a certain topic, and they will be willing to help you, or almost willing to help you in most cases, to optimize your success at this event. The night before the competition, I recommend that you get a good night's sleep and eat a good breakfast, because this event is knowledge intensive, meaning that it tests a lot of skills and concepts that involve your ability to reason, and without proper rest or energy, you won't be able to complete the tasks as well as you could have if you had gotten that rest or energy. So those are just a couple of quick tips on how to optimize your success in this event, and I wish you the best of luck in your studying and preparation.